huge... Jesus. Good afternoon, boys and girls. It's that time of the week again where we sit down with a cup of tea for 10 minutes and pretend that we're not perpetually miserable. Of course, I'm only half joking. We're back for another chocolate review, and today we're talking about a brand that I have never ever tried before, and that's fairly unique in the world of chocolate because I get around. The brand we are talking about today is Godiva, or Godiva? I think it's Godiva. Freddie Mercury taught me it was pronounced Godiva, so we're going to call it Godiva. So this is a Belgian chocolate, though technically it's made in Turkey. Even the languages are confusing me because it's like English, then Dutch, then Swedish. But it's from Belgium and it's made in Turkey. I have no idea where this chocolate is from, basically. We're talking kind of mid-range prices. So it looks like it will probably be around the kind of region of Lindt chocolate bars or Green and Black's chocolate bars, for example. Sort of £1 to £2 for one of these 100-gram bars. So I picked up a few flavours, but I thought I would start with a fairly basic kind of thing. So today we're going to be tasting two kinds of these Godiva caramel chocolates. So we have a salted caramel chocolate bar and we have some kind of individual caramel chocolate things that for some reason has a lion on it. I have no idea what's happening. So I think we're going to start with this chocolate bar. A milk chocolate bar with caramelized toffee pieces and a hint of salt. So I'm guessing it's going to be a basic kind of sweet, creamy milk chocolate with some crunchy stuff going on. I have no idea. This brand seems to present itself as kind of luxurious and kind of high quality, though I must say, immediately looking at it, the main ingredient is sugar, and that's followed by whole milk powder and cocoa butter before the actual cocoa mass, which generally suggests it's not the highest of quality, but if it tastes good, we can forgive it. So this is going to sound a little bit strange, but that's a milk chocolate smell that is somewhere between a bar of Lindt milk chocolate and a bag of M&Ms. It's a strange one. So as you can see, it's quite a sexy looking bar. Obviously the foil helps, but you can see that we've got those big kind of voluptuous squares that are just a little bit rounded off, just to make them that bit more appealing. They are quite thin, but we can see, I hope you guys can see in this light, I'm not sure, you can see that there are those tiny little chunks of that salted toffee or salted caramel, whatever it is. Anyway, enough kind of staring at it and sniffing it. Let's taste this Godiva salted caramel chocolate bar and see if it's worth it. As I said with the quality thing, and listen, I am by no means a snob when it comes to chocolate. I will inhale at an alarming rate any chocolate within my immediate vicinity, but this is not as kind of luxurious and high quality as it is advertising. There is barely any actual chocolate taste to this. It tastes mostly of sugar. So the chocolate itself is very creamy, as you know, you can tell by the colour, but it is super, super sweet. There's no kind of lingering flavour that you get with a lot of chocolate. It's just a really sweet mouthful of a kind of creamy texture. This bar may as well be white chocolate because there's that little of a milk chocolate taste to it. It's just mostly a kind of sweet creaminess. It's the kind of quality of chocolate that you would find in a Kit Kat. There's nothing immediately screams luxury. There's no high cocoa content in there. It's just, As for the salted caramel pieces, I know that this bar is called salted caramel, but it does describe itself as having caramelized toffee pieces, and that is definitely the flavour you get. It's got much more of a kind of burnt, buttery flavour than most salted caramel products do. And as with most commercialised salted caramel things, there isn't enough salt. There just needs to be a little more salt because, you know, it does have a little bit, just enough to stop this bar being like super sickly sweet. But the main thing you get when you bite into that is a kind of sweet, creamy stuff filled with a crunchy toffee stuff, basically. It doesn't scream salted caramel, and it definitely doesn't scream a good milk chocolate. You know, the toffee does convey a kind of salted caramel vibe, and you definitely get more of a caramel fix from this bar than you get a chocolate fix. which isn't what I'm looking for really when I'm buying a chocolate bar, but you know, it's fine. Honestly, not terrible, but definitely wouldn't rush to pick this up again. You know, I think if you wanted a kind of chocolatey salted caramel experience, Galaxy do that kind of thing for cheaper. You can probably find own brand chocolates that do that for cheaper. This certainly isn't as premium tasting as it looks. I'm gonna give this bar a 3 out of 5. Moving on, let's try these Godiva Masterpieces. So this is a caramel lion with Belgian milk chocolate. So I think this is more kind of a traditional caramel, not one that's laced with salt as we're kind of used to in this year of 2019. So yes, these are basically just individual milk chocolates with caramel fillings. Again, the main ingredients in this chocolate are sugar, whole milk powder and cocoa butter before the actual cocoa mass. And the cocoa mass is what gives you that nice chocolate flavour. Without it, you basically just have white chocolate or candy of some kind. I must say, I do love the packaging on this again. It's a very kind of sophisticated looking thing. I think this was £2 or £3. It wasn't the cheapest. It does also open very satisfyingly. You get a little kind of like, if anyone's seen Stranger Things, it almost looks like a bit of a Demogorgon head, but you know, it's fine. Quite a decent amount of those chocolates in here, I will admit. There are quite a lot, and it's, yeah, roughly 200 grams of product in here, so not too bad. But they are very small. So let's see if this Godiva Caramel Lion is any better than the salted caramel bar. Not really that impressed. Let me kind of show you what that filling's like. So again, the milk chocolate doesn't deliver a huge amount. Jesus. Apologies for that, my camera just decided to fucking flip itself into space. Again, this milk chocolate doesn't have a whole load of actual chocolate flavour to it. There's no lingering kind of chocolatey flavour there. It's just a kind of back of your teeth sweetness. And the caramel on the inside, while it's quite gooey, I kind of hoped it would have been a bit like your kind of higher quality caramel chocolates, in which the caramel tends to be runnier because it's just made with your sugar, your butter, your cream. Whereas this caramel is actually much closer to the caramel in like a Twix or a Snickers, in that it's very kind of sticky and chewy and you can kind of pull it. You can tell that there's kind of various kinds of glucose syrup in there, which masks a lot of that caramel flavour. It provides the same sweetness, but without the flavour of caramel, if you know what I mean. It just ends up becoming sugar instead of that lovely kind of toasted sugar and buttery, creamy flavour. I might be reading too much into this, you know what, it's a fucking chocolate lion, but basically kind of unimpressed. You know, these are fine, but for a box this fancy, you know, like Ferrero Rocher come in packaging that's like this fancy, and Ferrero Rocher are phenomenal. They're incredible. This, in its fancy packaging at its fairly premium price, even though there is a lot of product here, it's very meh. You could buy a bag of Asda's milk chocolate caramel filled buttons and probably be more satisfied than you would be with this. Basically, I think I'm gonna go along similar lines with this as I did with the salted caramel bar. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. Very average. You know, I totally understand premium chocolate. I totally understand charging a premium price for chocolate. I understand aiming at the middle class market. You know, it's ever expanding. But what I don't understand is what we've seen from other brands, and definitely what we've seen today, is brands like this that are putting the money into making fancy packaging and stuff like that, but they're producing a very average, mediocre quality chocolate. You know, if this was wrapped in a Galaxy wrapper or an Asda Smart Price wrapper, I would probably be much more pleased with it. But to be picking up something that you feel is a bit fancy, a bit of a treat, and to get something that's actually less enjoyable than like a bar of dairy milk, not great, you know what I mean? If you like chocolate, especially if you like caramel, give them a go, you might like it, but I'm certainly not going to be recommending it to you. Anyway, that is about all I have time for today, guys. If you have tried Godiva, if you're from the UK, if you're in Europe, if you're in Australia, America, wherever you're watching this from, if you've tried Godiva, do let me know. Let me know where the hell it's from. Don't forget, if you can't get enough of this face, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'll leave my links in the description box below. And you can also find my Patreon link if you would like to support this little channel of mine. In the meantime, I'm gonna go finish this cup of tea and be miserable elsewhere. See you next time.